Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. By using our link, you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. So, Naz, as a therapist on BetterHelp, what has your experience been like?
I've been doing it since January 2021, and it's been really fun and exciting. I've been able to reach clients all over the United States and the world. I've had good relationships. I've had folks that I've had for a couple months and a good handful where I've had for almost 2 years now. So it's magnificent. I've enjoyed my time and my clients. I love them.
Awesome. You can do it all from your phone or computer via phone call, video chat, or messaging, however you feel the most comfortable. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/DSP or choose Different Spectrums podcast during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. Hey everybody, we back again.
We're back. We're live.
That's our licensed clinical therapist, Nas.
They call me Dr. Nas. Dr. Smooth Head Baby Face Nas.
You have none of those things at all. That's crazy. You don't have a smooth head or a baby face. That's crazy.
No. They say I look like the Gerber baby.
Who was like aged by radiation. All right. Remember, don't take us too seriously.
Or do. It's completely up to you.
Don't forget to rub those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. So today, before we get into what we're taking a look at, we have a special guest today. She has 15 years of experience as a therapist where she specializes in healing intergenerational trauma through inner child work, blending psychosocial science, epigenetics, that's genetics, Jesus, and indigenous practices. She's also the founder of Rooted in Reflection, which has services for mental health and just overall healing. She also has her own podcast called Confetti All Around, where she dives into the beautiful journey of inner child healing and its power to transform generations. Welcome to the show, Cynthia Perez.
Woo! Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Get into it.
Awesome. Yeah. So, with further ado, we are taking a look at the Gordita Chronicles. Yeah, we're going to be talking about a few things. We're going to be talking about assimilation, some fat phobia going on in there also, and just overall fitting in, right? We have some other topics that we're going to be talking about. But Naz, anything before we get into the show?
So she got a podcast. It's the Confederacy. I didn't know that. You're a Confederate fan.
Oh, an opposite.
Hey. Salute.
You know, they should have won.
We will secede.
Oh my God. Sarcasm, people. Sarcasm.
No,
Jesus. So as we get into this delight, right, there's not much representation out there. It's a Dominican family, and we're going to check out the trials and tribulations. There's a lot of shows out there that are just like this, that are just about, white folks. I'm not going to say there's other, ethnicity. There's a lot of shows about this one, ethnicity, but they seem to you keep making it on ABC, the Goldbergs and shit.
oh my God.
But, God forbid, these damn Dominicans, they came in our country. Should have built that wall,
Oh my God.
So
Dominicans?
Yeah, would have kept him out of the water. Build it right in the water. What we should have just built a bridge and then blew it up. I'm just saying this is probably what people think. So because people are racist.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right.
People are racist as shit. We should just sandbag tower it. You people. But there's actually some really good scenes in here, specifically when it comes to immigrants and assimilating or giving up your culture. And I think it's a good topic for me to look at because, you see my Arab side in the 1940s and then the Mexican side in the 50s immigrating and a loss of our mother tongue, loss of a lot of our identities and fear, not because we wanted to, in fear to get jobs, to be those good ones, right? Those good coloreds. And I said it like that racially on purpose because in fear of their bodies and trying to get housing, trying to get jobs, be promoted. Let someone else call you the wrong name. As many of you know on the podcast, my name is not spelled the correct way. It's spelled the way that the white guy, right, they gave us in Ellis Island. It's just the way my name is spelled. When my grandfather came over, I have his name. So we're going to talk about a lot of racial-based issues, but then also love and what it is to love your spouse and partner and be grounded in your roots, what Cynthia brings up. So we're going to check it out. We're going to have some fun. There's a lot of good laughs in there. I apologize for any of the comedic shit I just said a second ago, but I mean, it is what it is. That's the podcast. All right, let's get into it. Let's have some fun. Let's bring some awareness to our people. Brown people everywhere in America. Brown people.
I'm ready for it. Here for it.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo woo.
Hey!
Hey!
Look at you.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time we get a white person on there, they're like, they just stare at us.
What are these Negroes saying?
Is this one of those colloquiums they told us about in school?
Do you say that to alarm yourself from the police?
The white girls on here be like, they told us about decolonizing therapy. I should say this. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It's true, though.
It is so true.
It's so true. So many white therapists on here talking about decolonization. Okay.
They do? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. But none of them have hired any people of color. But, God bless them.
Look at their website. They don't have any black people or people of color on there. Not even indigenous people. Just saying.
Yeah.
If you don't think we don't look, we look. We look at the website. I look.
I saw this one website the other day. It said for women by women, and it's her being the president, right? And then her co-president's a white dude, and then it's just all white women under. I'm like, you still got a white dude up top when it's all women. I was like, okay, but
it's all right. It's fine.
I was about to invite him to the pod, and I was like, I can't.
There's a place. There's an agency that focuses on healthcare, and you could tell they're pitching it towards women of color, and it's like specializing in women's healthcare, reproductive healthcare, all that. And it has a Spanish name in the title. And when I look at it, the whole board there's like one Latina and then white women, and it's called Tia Healthcare. And I'm like, their name is in Spanish and all their decorations look Latino, but yeah. Anyway, sorry.
It's a Taco Bell of women's healthcare.
Oh my God. Hey, Gordita Crunches are my shit. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure they do good work.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I don't like to preach hate on here, Cynthia. So just
no, not
just,
at all.
You're back it down. I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
Let's calm down. All right. Be one of the good.
Oh my God. I hate myself for saying this shit. All right. Let's get into the show. This is magnificent. Let's get into the show.
Cynthia about to whoop our ass.
No, I'm probably bitter because I applied to them one time and they were like, no, automatically. I was like, you don't know what you're missing. But I'm sure they're wonderful.
They're great people.
Hey, I've been there. I'm right with you. Except for I was like, I'm about to burn this motherfucker down.
You don't know what you're missing.
They'll know. It's a whole building. So they're missing now.
They'll see it. Dad, you got any of that C4 left?
Oh no.
All right.
Just to be clear, that's not what I'm saying, but
all right, we're done. Show.
Yeah. Show.
Immigration is the sincerest form of flattery. And in 1985, my mixed Dominican family and I were about to flatter the hell out of the United States of America.
Okay, you gotta explain this to me. What does Miami have that we don't have? Different coconuts?
Are you kidding me?
No.
I want my MTV. Coke is it? Pardon me, do you have any grape palm?
Okay.
America is the leader in global marketing. This promotion is a huge opportunity.
Still can't believe Adela didn't talk you out of this.
I can't wait to get off this island. Okay, take everything. If it's not in a box, I won't need it in Miami.
Adela, are you sure you don't want your cafetera? How are you gonna make your cafecito?
I have 2 words for you. Mr. Coffee.
¿Y la gordita? ¿Dónde está?
No sé. Cucu! Cucu!
That little gordita was me, Cucu Castelli, 3 decades ago.
Give me that.
Gordita means little chubby. And in the Dominican Republic, it's a term of endearment.
How do I look? Like you're auditioning for Mary Magdalene in the Easter play. I could see your belly button. You're just jealous. Booby-doo. Booby-doo? What's booby-doo? It's when your belly sticks out farther than your boobies do.
Hey. You knew, right? I'm Chad. Part of the, welcoming committee. Can I escort you to homeroom?
Just like the boys in Tiger Beach.
Hey, watch where you're going, fatso.
Oh, my name's not Fatso. It's Cucu. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Fatso means gordita, gordita.
And that's how I learned that in America, gordita was not a compliment.
Here.
Thanks.
Bananas, cigars, and medical appliances all have in common with me. We're all exports from the Dominican Republic. Hi, I'm Cucu, and
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Back home, I knew every prayer in the book. The Lord's Prayer, the Ave Maria. Heck, I know the whole rosary. But this flag prayer was a new one for me. Never mind a different country. I felt like I was on a different planet. Everyone dressed, acted, and even smelled different than my friends back home. And just when I thought things couldn't get any weirder.
you kissed a boy before marriage? You know better. You took human anatomy from a nun. Remember what Sister Ophelia said about the vast deference? It's the devil's shotgun. I'm telling Mommy.
If you tell Mommy, I'll make sure the whole school calls you Booby-Doo.
Fine. Then just tell me what does this tongue taste like? An F? I've never gotten anything less than an A my entire life. I didn't come all the way to America to not be wildly successful.
Maybe not speaking Spanish in class would help.
It's not like I do it all the time. Wait, do I do it all the time?
No. Only when you get excited.
Or nervous.
Or scared.
Or hungry.
Yeah, Cucu, you do it a lot.
Really?
How else do you think I learned the word conchale?
I'm sorry, guys. It's just sometimes it feels like half my brain speaks English and the other half speaks Spanish. Two sides are always fighting. I'll kick your butt, Spanish. No te metas conmigo, inglés. Ay, tranquilo.
Hey, we just gotta make your English side stronger. I can definitely help.
We can do it.
There was no way I was going to risk getting another F. And if it meant turning my back on my native language, then so long, Espanol.
Hey there, Eduardo. Oh, that's not my name.
Morning, Eduardo.
No, that's not my... Ay, Dios. It's spreading.
Excuse me. Hello. I was wondering if you could help me. Mr. Frank has, for some reason, confused us. Would you mind telling him that you're Eduardo?
And get fired for correcting him? No. Besides, I wouldn't want to miss out on your bonus.
Bonus?
End of year. Boss hands out checks. Now, with your great ideas, I, Victor, could buy a jet ski. And don't worry, I'll empty the trash real good. And maybe you'll get my bonus.
I don't understand. How does he confuse us? We're from different countries. We have different jobs. We don't look anything alike. In Santo Domingo, everybody knew me.
Mire, mi hermano. In Nicaragua, I was a doctor. Here, I'm just Victor.
I'm Victor.
We'll see. Listen, when you move here, it doesn't matter who you were. You start over. Sometimes you start over as Eduardo, or Juan, or Victor.
You know what? No. I came here to start a new life. Me. What's the point if no one knows who I am? And I'd rather be known as Victor, the guy who got fired for correcting Mr. Frank, than be known as someone who I am not. Thank you for your counsel, Eduardo. Mr. Frank, there's something I need to tell you. My name isn't Eduardo. It's Victor. Victor Castelli, your VP of Marketing for Latin America. Eduardo is the other Latin guy, who, by the way, is woefully underemployed.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know.
That's it? What about the last guy who corrected you?
Oh, I fired him because he took my parking spot. And he slept with my wife. Insult to injury.
Well, then that's a relief. Not about the wife stuff, obviously.
I am terrible with names, though. You know, I've had my secretary for 20 years, and I still don't know if her name is Shirley, Cheryl, or Sharon.
I think it's Barbara.
Wow. See, I have a problem.
Well, would you like to know my secret for remembering?
Oh, yes. Oh, please.
When people introduce themselves, I connect something about them with the first letter of their name. For example, I'm Vice President Victor. Eduardo, the other Latin guy, is educated Eduardo because he was a doctor in Nicaragua.
Oh, do me.
You're Flying Frank because you flew to the moon.
You're damn right I did. Okay.
Okay, so that lady over there,
Whoopi?
You've been calling Whoopi, yes, is Betsy.
Oh, okay. Got it. Black Betsy.
Oh, I know.
Oh, and that's Divorced Dan.
Let's try something less personal.
That guy over there? Fat Steven. Thank you so much, Victor. This has been so helpful.
Good. Ready for your driving test?
I decided I was just gonna be a bus person, make new friends. Somebody's always playing loud music. It's just like a giant fiesta on wheels.
Adela, I know you're nervous about the test, but I've got a feeling things are going to be pretty different. I'm the wheel this time.
Oh, but what's that smell?
I gave the car a Dominican makeover.
What?
A tropical sea breeze air freshener, a shell necklace from Puerto Plata, and a figurine of La Virgen de Alta Gracia.
I'm my favorite Virgen.
And look, she hula dances when you drive. And the best part, when someone cuts you off and you honk the horn. Huh? There's no way you can stay mad.
Hi, Victor. You did this all for me just so I'd feel a little less homesick.
Of course. You know, I figured if I could make the car more Dominican, your driving could be more American.
I know. I love it. Thank you.
Hey everyone, have you been looking for something to help you when you feel extra fidgety? How about when you have a sensory overload? Well, I'm here to introduce you to the Oh No Fidget Roller. It helps me regulate and also feel at ease. The Oh No Roller comes in 5 different materials, including plastic, aluminum, steel, titanium, and silicone. You can use our code DSP10 to get 10% off your order when you visit onoroller.com and get your roll on. And we're back again.
We're back and we're live. Everything that I said before this was obviously sarcasm. This is a public service and we don't condone any violence, any race-based discrimination. You know, any fire. No love making. You know, we good Catholics here. You know, I got an American flag outside my house.
I'm still celibate.
You know, I don't even look at it. But I'll
Why do you
just
stare at in general?
dude, I was at the gym the other day and I
Oh,
realized I'm on this machine and I just was dead ass staring at this dude flexing in the mirror for like 5 minutes, never realized it. I'm like, I'm about to die.
Yeah.
Yep. He's
Maybe he was flattered.
Wasn't even, I just zoned out. And then I hate when I zone out and I would like dissociate and just people would just be there. God damn it. They'll look up and I'll finally come to. I'm like, I swear I'm not a pervert. I swear to God.
Sure. Anyway.
All right, let's get into the show.
Yes. So, like I said, we have Cynthia Perez on the show. So, Cynthia, how'd you get started in your mental health journey?
Thank you. I think it's being a daughter of immigrants. I'll start there. I'm a middle child, and everyone likes to talk about the oldest daughter of immigrants or the oldest child of immigrants, but nobody talks about us, the middle
here we
child,
go.
the invisible. Okay,
Here we go.
the invisible middle child who has to like be the it's okay, I will do whatever to make everybody at peace again. And so I found that was always my role. And then actually, if we're going to get real, my father's father completed suicide in Mexico, unalived himself in Mexico. But he had been telling us he was gonna for years, and nobody really took it seriously.
Yep.
It was kind of like, ese loco en el pueblo, like he's just crazy. And so when he did it, I remember I was 16 and I was like, I can't believe nothing more was done. And I think that really put into motion, like, what would I have done differently? And so it got me into mental health. And now I'm trying to change it up because this stuff is like, it's too much. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about Rooted in Reflection? What is that? And why did you be a founder of it?
Yeah.
Good
I
English,
wasn't sure if I wrote it flowery or if you were just saying it flowery. And I think it's a little bit of both, how I write my stuff. But Rooted in Reflection is a business I created in 2020. I was in healthcare and I thought I was going to retire in healthcare. I was a medical social worker and I started to see all the just unfair shit that was happening. Basically, I had many, doctors, thinking they were doing the right thing, but calling me during the pandemic to say this person is fine to go to work, send them back to work. And when I would talk to them in Spanish, they really were sick. They really shouldn't have, but they didn't want to advocate for themselves. And I found there was so much that we weren't offering. And working in healthcare, it was like white walls, polyester seats. I would pass out a piece of paper. I have a master's and I'm passing you out a piece of paper. That's all I'm doing. And then you have to go gather all this yourself. So I was like, what would I do if I did it differently? And so I thought we need softness and we need joy. So I started doing my own inner child work. That means to be honest, if I can keep it, plant medicine for me. Okay, plant medicine for me. That means like literally growing plants with my hands, smoking plants with my mouth, right? Yes, cannabis, and being like having the ground beneath my feet. And I started saying, we need this. And so I started to see my inner child and I was like, I want to create soft spaces for us. I don't want it to, when I started healthcare, I wanted to be like them. I wanted to assimilate to that healthcare system, and working in it, I was like, this is kind of lame. So Rooted in Reflection provides, not only have I created 10 educational clinical courses, so I teach other therapists.
Okay.
I'm sponsored by Latinx Therapy. Thankfully, she believed in me from the beginning.
That's
but
awesome.
basically, I created courses on how to work with the Latino population because there's not a lot of courses that teach that. So we talk about how immigration impacts our physical body. We talk about like ancestral trauma. We talk about sacred rage and sacred grief. And I really have been using the work of other BIPOC therapists like Dr. Jennifer Mullen, Natalie Gutierrez, just so many other new books. And so I started to create this stuff. And now we do live events. So we do soft events where you could come to a sound bath outside. We do like drumming and we come back to our inner teen, our inner child, and our inner ancestor. So it's been really beautiful. And now I get to collaborate even in the city. We create events with our own community, and other people come along, and it's just this really beautiful collective.
Okay. That's
Any follow-up questions?
holy shit.
No,
I mean,
that was
so is this where I normally don't ask this until the end. Where do people find these courses? Is this on a website? Where's this at?
Yeah, you could find this at rootedinreflection.org. And I specialize in Marianismo, which is basically the female, what happens to the female with machismo, because everything has an opposite, reaction. So, or equal and opposite reaction. So when there's machismo, there's Marianismo in the woman. And this has been really hurting us, So I have pre-recorded courses. I also do CEU courses, and then I am a public speaker for this. But you could find this all at rootedinreflection.org.
And is this stuff that people have to sign up for? Is it just free resources, or is it classes? How does it work?
That's a really great question. My free resource is my podcast, Confetti All Around. And I have over 50 episodes with mental health clinicians of color. But we also have spiritual leaders, curanderas, shamans, just people, genealogists, just people doing this work, and everything kind of weaves together. I also offer resources on my Instagram, but you can buy pre-recorded courses, and I also host groups.
Yep.
Right now, the group is already closed, but I do just sometimes I do virtual events and in person, but it's just really become this big community where I see people come to 6 things at a time. And I'm like, I've met you. And now it's just kind of blossomed.
Yep.
So I really love that we feel like it's for us,
There you go. It just
Totally.
reminds me of my client recently, Spence. I might have said this on the last podcast, but I didn't. I talked to my dad about it. I said, my client goes, you know what? He was being vulnerable, and she was like, just suck it up, damn it. And she didn't say that, but she felt that because she'd been through so much, right? Been through so much. And she's like, come on, we got shit to do. And I was like, girl, it's fine. Glad you didn't say it out loud, but there's ways that you could have handled this without suffocating your own feelings and some of that internal rage. You could have bonded together in both of your suffering as this is your partner day one. But instead, you crushed it all. Then you got resentful, and then you wanted to tell them to shut up. But then all you did was validate them, and then you didn't get any validation. And that, again, that's the machismo, right? It's the masculinity. It's that whole shit, that cycle. So women can have it too. And so I'm glad that we have you today, because we're going to talk about some of that stuff in the pod today. Spencer, back over to you.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it a little bit with your uncle's suicide, and just how the culture in general isn't very attuned to mental health and things like that. What are some things that you really want to accomplish to maybe change that way of thinking for just your culture in general?
I love that question. Thank you. Well, I think right now we're going through a genocide, and it's so hard to watch. It hurts. Every day I think about it. There's not a day that goes by. I eat a meal, I think about it. And it really ties into so much of what my roots know, what my bones know. And so my people come from a similar experience, the Yucatec Maya, right? And so my goal is to help women. I work with a lot of high achieving first gen women, but it's also men too, because when we heal our Marianismo wounds, as I call it, these wounds that make us resentful, rageful, bitter, jealous, manipulative, this is something that we have had as protection. And what if now, kind of like Dr. Nas said, we let it go and we go, you know what, I'm going to say what I need to say, or I'm going to live for myself. So really talking about it, giving it language, validating it, but also I love to let's bring in something that is soft for us. So let's refill that with our own ancestral knowing. So I might say, you go dance, go cry, go cook a meal that you think your great-great-grandmother would be cooking, and see what comes up. So for me, it's for us to get to know ourselves without all of these protectors. Who are we truly? And to really love the essence that we have. And we can allow our own DNA, our epigenetics, to remind us of our ancestral joy, not just the struggle. We're not just made here to work. Unfortunately, people think that Latinos are just here to be their servant. And we have so many gifts that, like Dr. Nas said, we've had to just shove. So my goal is hopefully that we realize that when we are working more in our joy, we are literally changing our epigenetics for joy. And that allows us to change the next generation. And it also heals 7 generations back. That's my goal.
Nice. Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna do this little thing where I'm gonna act like a resistant client real quick.
Okay.
What the hell? I ain't doing no inner child work. What's that for? That's a bunch of soft bullshit. I ain't doing that stuff. Why do I need to do that? Ain't nothing wrong with me. Cynthia, why tell me why I need to do the shit that you're telling me I need to do? What would you say to someone like who says that?
You know, I think I get that a lot. And I think it's like, that's cringy, or that is not for me, or why would I go back into that? And I think I would just say, like, I hear you. And what about that is kind of off-putting for you? What feels cringy? And then you might be like, oh,
I got stuff to do. I got stuff to do, Cynthia. I got to make money. I got to feed my family. I ain't got time to be sitting here talking about dolls and cooking tortas.
And that's why, you know, when you go to work, you have to, sometimes we don't realize you're taking that little child to work with you. And now that little child who is like your subconscious, right? I say they sit at the helm of my heart, watching everything, but that child knows everything from my past. Okay. They know when those people beat me up. They know when my parents yelled at me, and now you're taking them to work every day and you don't give them a break to share their emotions, to play. And if you ever go to work and you come back and you're grumpy, what if that is our inner child saying, hey, you make me do all this for you. What about my joy? Does that feel like anything at the end of the day where you feel like irritable, or maybe you're lashing out?
Tired.
Angry.
And then disappointed that I don't have enough to give my own kids, which makes me more angry at myself, which only makes me more angry at them because they're a reminder that I'm failing.
What would you do when you were a kid? When your parents were busy or angry, where would I find you? If I was like, where is little baby Dr. Nas? Where would you be?
I'd be outside running around. Most likely in the backyard, playing with stupid stuff in the grass, and then shooting a basketball on this rim that I also used to jump off of onto a trampoline. So I'd be doing a lot of risky business outside.
And I already imagine your body. So your body's like jumping, it's digging, it's a lot of movement. So what if even inner child work for you just looked like after work gardening, after work playing a little basketball for 15 minutes? And we don't even have to call it inner child work. But in that moment, can we just validate that child and go, I'm so happy you're here with me? Or we're done with work for today. What would you like to do? Little things like that could be inner child healing. It doesn't have to be just like my favorite ice cream cone. It could just be a moment where I take a deep breath, hand on my heart, hand on my tummy, and I just say, like, I'm so happy to be here for you.
The ice cream one would be good, though. The Superman ice cream back in Michigan
No
is the
lie.
shit. Superman ice cream is native to Michigan. Fuck anybody else who says it's Ohio.
Here we go.
You know,
fuck
you.
He's done this before.
Yeah. In real life, yes.
Yeah. That is some good shit. I know we had it probably last year. We went back and got it at Michigan at this place that I used to go as a kid, where I would ride my bike or go to. And my dad got to eat it. That was fucking awesome. I remember Heather being in the car and she's like, it's scary here. We're like, just eat your ice cream, you white woman.
Why'd you have to say that? You know, and I think you bring up a beautiful point, is that, and this is where my inner child had to heal, is that my parents might have snapped at me because they felt a lack in their own childhood, or it was hard to see me that joyful because it's grief. It's this sacred grief that they didn't have that, or they couldn't have it. And maybe it brings up sacred rage. And when I can feel that, oh my goodness, it's not that they didn't love me, it was their wounded child. It does something to my brain, right? It rewires my neural pathways to say it wasn't your fault. And in that, I can start to do the work more. But you're absolutely right that a lot of times parents project that onto their children. They don't do it on purpose. I mean, some parents do it on purpose, but a lot of times it's subconscious because of their own unhealed childhood trauma. So
there you go. And that concludes today's session in role play. You know, I love to role play, folks, you know. Put a wig on me and call me Sally.
Oh, no. Oh no.
Sorry.
That sounds like a different podcast.
It's something. It's real life.
Well, we live stream, so.
Oh my god! Check out the different spectrums OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's just my hairy feet. I'm done. But thank you for that. That was magnificent. Those were just things that I was repeating that my clients would say, most likely to you or me.
Yeah.
Those don't reflect my actual shit. Because I got different shit, not that shit. So I appreciate that. I don't really do that with every guest. I try to do that with guests that I think that can handle it. You did it really good. Not to put you on the spot, but I knew you'd be able to make it work.
Yeah.
And that was good. So I appreciate you in that moment being on the hot seat, kind of.
Thank you.
Yep. You've been battle tested. Battle tested.
You know what I'd love? I'm putting a call out. I would love to work with more males. And I would also love to work with the LGBTQ trans community, because I think there's so much inner child work to do there too. And I have a hard time because I know my branding is very like girly, but that's me. But I just see so much for that with males and the queer community as well. So I love that you even gave me that example.
You're good. And masculine men will still work with you because you're a Latina man. You still have a masculinity and a power to you that we all respect, even though we may shit on it.
I didn't know that.
Our culture and populations for multiple races that I am, and then Spencer knows too. There's a certain way that we view, certain therapists, white therapists, right? White therapists versus women of color. There's a respect thing there, usually no matter what, with women of color. And, I can get into maybe it's misogyny and all that, but no, there's a certain thing about our people where like, oh shit, she might kick my ass. My mama said you treat them with respect. Not saying that she didn't say treat the other folks with respect.
Yeah.
You just treat your own with more, with the utmost. So
I think that's compassion and empathy, like understanding our lived experiences and not just like throwing it at the wayside. So thank you.
Yeah. As I told one of my kids the other day, a brown woman, I said, hey, you don't do this goddamn homework assignment and fill out this goddamn HIPAA form, I'm going to send you to a white woman.
I swear to God.
I swear to God, I'm going to send you to Stephanie and you just going to talk about bullshit.
Do you know how lucky you are? Yeah. Can I tell you a
she
funny
filled that
story?
shit out real quick. She filled it out real quick. Go ahead.
No, you just like triggered a core memory. My mom took me to therapy when I was 13, teenager, angry. I was a talk back kid because she was a immigrant mom and she didn't know a lot. So I was kind of like, Mom, we do this, and Mom, we do that. So then you start to get this personality of parenting your mom. So you get a little bit resentful, you're snappy with them. I would have Black women at the store tell me, don't you talk back to your mom? And they shook me because I'd be like, oh my God, I am rude to my mom, right? So she took me to therapy. That's a whole nother, like being a parentified child. You just take on, like you said, this way of having to walk through the world. So she took me to therapy to this white woman. And I just knew my mom was not about therapy, but she thought this is what she should do.
Yep.
My mom would always spy on us. Okay. She would listen at the door. And so I'm in therapy and I'm like, I don't trust talking to you. My mom is out this door. And the lady's like, no. And I said, my mom is outside listening to us. I'm not going to share. And guess what I did? I walk over, open the door, and my mom falls out like a TV show. And she starts to act like she was like, and I knew it. And the woman she would not work with us anymore. She thought we were just too dynamic, too kooky.
Dynamic.
Yeah. And I was like,
dynamic. You're way too dynamic for me. Sorry.
You're way.
Yeah. So
she just called. That was a racial slur.
Literally.
That's a new one for brown women.
Way too dark for me. Can't do it.
Way too dynamic.
That was a nice way of saying what I thought she felt.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Very passive aggressive, but yeah, nice.
Can you imagine a therapist coming into me and my family, my dad and my mom, if I was younger? My dad just be looking at him.
They would probably have a restraining order on your family, your whole family.
Oh, whole family.
Not one person, whole family. Never seen that before.
Ma walks in, stab.
Oh my God.
She leaves, dad cons her out of everything. Don't laugh at that. I'm sorry, Spence. Spence did not laugh at that.
I did not.
He did not. Shit.
Shaking my head. Shouldn't have said that.
Back to that's an inside joke. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dan's like, don't be telling my secrets now. Oh my God. Good times. Dynamic families.
Jesus. All right.
Any more questions?
Spencer is such a great like co-host because the grace of Spencer.
Oh no.
Well, I have to be the straight man when he's the kooky one, and then he has to do it reverse.
I'm like a fine delicatessen, you know. He treats me. He eats me softly and chews longly.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Get into the show. Take over.
Oh, okay.
And the show is just so sweet.
All right. Anyways, Cynthia, what made you want to do the Gordita Chronicles? What about this show really spoke to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could see, Spencer, but while we were reviewing the clips, I couldn't stop smiling. The characters, what I love so much about it is the characters are so lovable. We don't have to be like looked at in a bad light, where they're not like gangsters, they're not drug dealers, they are a family, just like so many other families. And I just love how each character has an experience that somebody can relate to in a family that has experienced separation, whether it's forced displacement, whether it's immigration, whether it's a new job opportunity like Vincent Castelli. And it pisses me off that it's off the air, to be 100, because it's such a beautiful show. So part of me just wants to like revive it, and part of me hopes that I can like work with the people on this because I think it should come back. So if we can give it a try.
I thought I saw something that it was going to be on Tubi for like the second season or something like that.
Oh, I didn't.
So might be on Tubi for free. So
there you go.
Okay.
Tubi, saving lives. Tubi.
Saving lives.
Actually, to be honest with you, with Tubi, it's actually a great place for like Black and brown people to actually share their stories and actually get into filmmaking, because for the most part, it doesn't cost a lot to do it. I mean, you know, obviously it costs whatever to make the production and stuff like that. But a lot of Black and brown people have been putting their movies and stuff like that on Tubi. And although some of them are like Tyler Perry cringy, you know, for the most part, you know, at least it's stories getting out there. So, you know, although we can all shit on Tubi, it's actually doing a great job of actually letting these stories be told in different ways.
There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And in an age of boycotting for your values, Tubi's there to like offer a place to watch stuff without, you know, with going around things.
Yes. And also for free, you know, you have to do commercials, stuff like that. But I mean, it's free for the most part. So, you know, that's
we're going to see a Tubi sponsored little logo next month.
Hey,
I'm here for it.
I don't care. I'll do it.
I'm just going to stop.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. There we go. All right. So let's get to the scenes. Do you want to give us a brief, like just a little background on just the show in general, like some of the characters and stuff like that, and then we'll get into the scenes?
Sure. So Gordita Chronicles is originally on HBO Max, and it highlights this family that is in the Dominican Republic as the first scene kicks off. And Vincent Castelli in the Dominican Republic, everybody knows him. He is, you know, just a pillar in the community. He's a really great salesman in marketing, and his wife is really loving and supportive, and they get the lifetime opportunity of their dreams to work in the US for an airline company being a marketer. So he's really excited. He's looking forward to the trip, and they are so excited to become American. And so this show documents the changes that they've had to experience, their lived experience in coming to America. They have 2 daughters, and I feel like both daughters could really highlight parts of the lived experience and what it's like to go to school as a first-gen child of immigrants. So actually, they're immigrants themselves. So technically,
yeah.
Immigrants, not first gen, but yeah.
I was going to say, did you relate to any of the characters specifically, or did you relate to all of them technically just at different times?
I mean, it's called Gordita Chronicles, so I'm the Gordita, and yes, we're going to get into that scene, and I think we're going to talk about it, but even the word Gordita, I'm like, why are we calling it Gordita Chronicles? Because that word is so triggering for me to be called that. Yes. So I definitely relate to Cucu Castelli, but I also love Cucu because in inner child work, like look at her. She is our joyful inner child. You know, the world hasn't like pinned her down and they're trying to. She moves to America and they're trying to give her all these hurdles and she still has that joy. And so she reminds me of me before all the bullshit. So yes, I love Cucu Castelli. And I wish my mom was like the mom in this show because I really love the mom in this show and the dad.
Is the mom Latino in this show or no?
The mom is from Dominican Republic too.
She is Dominican. Yeah, she is Dominican.
both are,
Okay, I
yeah.
wasn't sure what the ethnicities of all the actual characters were. I didn't look into that. Normally I look into it. Good, because I feel like I've seen her in some other things. I know I've seen her in some other things.
Yeah, yeah, she's a great actress.
Yeah, I've definitely seen her in some other stuff. Okay, I'm gonna kick it back to Spence.
Yeah, and executive producers of the show, Zoe Saldana,
Oh.
also great. Yeah, and Eva Longoria. So
Eva's been pumping out some stuff lately, man.
yeah. So yeah.
Can I just say, Eva Longoria, she has her master's in Chicano Latino studies. She does a lot of great work for the Latino community. I actually had a therapy contract with her where I would provide telehealth therapy to farm workers. It wasn't through her, it was through her organization, but they raised millions of dollars in the pandemic to provide telehealth medical therapy for farm workers because they had a high rate of suicidal ideation. So I was even in a contract and she paid really well. Like the contract paid really well. So I just am really grateful for Eva Longoria because she is a real one.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Jennifer.
Fucking awesome. That is, let's just put some love on that real quick because I didn't know all that. I knew that
You
she's
can Google
doing a lot
Eva
of great
Longoria Foundation.
She's doing a lot of great shows and productions and documentary series. I didn't know that foundation. I think I did hear about it a while ago. And it's awesome to have someone like you actually be like, no, this was legit awesome and real. And we did good work.
It was great. And I got paid really well where I could work remotely, but I also got to, and this is the wild part. Okay. My mom, when she came here with her parents, was a farm worker in the same fields. Okay. Talk about intergenerational. So my parents, my grandparents and my mom worked those fields. Even my great grandmother worked the fields. It was 3 generations picking strawberries, picking grapes in Oxnard and Santa Cruz. Here I go 2021 and I get offered this contract in Santa Cruz. I get to work in remotely and give them. And I almost turned it down because of my generational guilt. I was like, but I get paid well. And what about them? And my mom was like, you better take it. Because when I was that age, I wish I had a therapist. The people get free therapy, so it was just a really beautiful thing. And for me, it really healed this generational cycle. So.
Who better to work with them than their own people? Instead of something.
It was amazing.
I love, don't get it twisted. Love everybody, love white folks, but better than some Catherine going over there, right? Rather you. Oh yeah, as long as you could get over the own triggering of the shit yourself, right? Because that'd be triggering for me to do something like that. Not necessarily that version of what you did, but like certain things in the schools or when I go back into Michigan, it's just triggering. It's triggering. So long as you can get past that hurdle, then God bless you. I'm glad you did it.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Totally. So for this first scene, kind of talked about it a little bit, but it's about Cucu, their and her family coming to America, right? They're getting ready to go, still in the Dominican Republic, and they're about to go there, and they bring up this term called Gordita, right? Gordita, but in Dominican Republic, it's not a negative name at all. It's very positive, right? In that culture. But then once she gets to America, starts going to school, then she's called a Gordita, but then it's more of a negative light, right? So have you in any of your experiences ever had that where it's like in your family or in your culture in general, it's a really good thing, and then you go out and then all of a sudden it's just like it's terrible here? Have you had that at all?
Cynthia, real quick, before you get into that magnificent question, what the hell does Gordita mean for those of us that aren't Spanish speaking? What does that mean? And then finish up Spencer's of like what you've been through, what you've seen, how that affects people.
Okay. Gordita means little fat one, or like gordito would be little fat boy and gordita would be little fat girl. And I guess, being gender expansive, we could say gordite. That's the first time you're hearing it first. But basically gorda or gordo is fat. And so then when they add the ita, that makes it cute. And they actually say like de cariño, which is like of love. And it's a term of endearment.
Okay.
But it goes, for me, it's triggering because it's calling somebody something based on their physical appearance or what you see in them. So there's flaca, which means skinny person. Flaco, skinny boy. Flaca, skinny girl. There's your skin color. They might call you güera or morena, right? Dark skin, light skin. So now we say it affectionately, but really it's rooted in like a caste system, right? Of back in the day. So yes, but is it meant as a term of endearment? Yes. And then you come to America and it's literally translated into fat girl. And did I have experience with this? Well, in school, they just called me fat ass. Like literally all the kids were so mean. They would call me like shamu. I would rather hear gordita. Okay. But when I would go home and my dad or my mom would call me their gordita, I remember feeling really angry. I don't want to be called that. Like it's embarrassing. It's not cute. And then you would get kind of like, why are you mad about it? And they didn't understand. And this is like a big cultural rift, but they don't call me that anymore. But you see it. People get called that all the time. Viejita. You might call your partner gorda. Hey, gorda, come here. Bring me something. And then the wife is fine with it. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's how you call your partner too.
Interesting, bro. The names, Spencer, I don't remember. I think you were a heavier boy when you were younger, right? Or no?
No, I was skinny.
You're always skinny?
I got heavier as I got older. Yeah.
Older. Okay. So that shit is.
I had thick legs. I'll be honest with you. I had thick legs, but upper body part finally caught up to me later in life. But yeah, I was thick legged and, but upper half, like I had a 6-pack and everything when I actually like got into like when I actually started growing and shit. I woke up with a 6-pack one day. I'll be honest with you. I didn't work for it at all. It was just there. And I was like, holy shit, look at that. Yeah, that's right. I had the V and everything. I was like, damn, I'm looking good. Yeah.
It's like a superhero moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, superhero's dead now. So
he ate him.
Yeah. Oh my God. Jesus. It's true though.
So, bro, that shit was crazy. So I was probably average, very thin young boy until probably like middle school. In middle school, I started getting a little chunky, a little bit, not a lot. But then you would just get harassed because you were a little chunky, right?
Yeah.
Or because the clothing that you would wear, this and that. So it'd be really terrible.
Sweatpants. I would wear fucking sweatpants all the time. And people be talking shit about the sweatpants. And now look at it. Everybody wears fucking sweatpants.
Yep. So I remember in high school, because now like I got real big sophomore year, because I probably gained like 180 pounds, 80 pounds, because there was a lot of muscle mass, started lifting. And now I'm on the football team, and everyone that used to bully me when I was just a fat little kid, well, now they're like terrified of me because like I'm like this monster in like Division I like prospect. And I got to take out a lot of violence on individuals that were bullshitting and teasing me. It was fucking fantastic. Oh yeah. I remember picking a couple up and dropping them in the dirt and just laying on them and like, yeah.
Oh God, I hated offensive linemen like you. I really did.
Yep. Oh, I used to love pancaking people up and yep, there you go. Right in the dirt where you belong. Yep. Besides the point. So I remember being in high school and like everyone looks up to you. Everyone's a little scared of you, but they know I'm a magnificent guy, funny and all that. But I remember having to wear baggier clothing all the time because I was ashamed of still being fat. This awesome prime athlete, right? But you're fat and you're sweating all the time. So you wear these hoodies that make you fucking sweat even more. And then you're doing this all the time, lifting your shirt up, trying to make sure it doesn't stick to your fat rolls and your underboobs. And I mean, it's a whole fucking thing, man. And being called fat ass all the time. And it'd be funny. I'd be like, so this all you got? Because we'd roast the shit out of each other. And I got real good at roasting people. And I'm like, oh, let me guess. You going to say fat ass? Well, let me chop you up about 3 different things. Oh, yeah. But remember that you can't even fucking read, bro. So, yeah, good luck.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'm not, bro. We would go at each other, bro. It was bad. My high school at Lansing Sexton was bad, bro. We would just fucking roast each other the whole time. Besides the point.
Yeah.
So you get a real thick skin, but then you start to hate yourself for being chunky. And then with this whiteness, right? You're looking for the jaws, the blue eyes, the thinness, right? Then you start talking about how US leads like the world in fucking eating disorders. And you wonder why. You wonder why. And this thing in media, it's a horrific thing. So I love that it's a admiring word, Gordita. But then when you come to the States, everything gets polluted and perverted, and we can't have anything good. We can't love anyone for anything. And I have my clients that parents come and they're like, oh, my clients will wear the same clothes that they always wear. And she's like, oh, my mom came into town. She's making fun of me and calling other women fat. And then she's like, well, if they're calling her fat, what's she think of me? And it leads even further into the eating disorder. So I'll work on the eating disorder for months, Spence. Mom will come into town for like just a couple days. Fuck it, we lose all progress. So these words, they can be awesome, but then, they can be used against us. And the fat phobia is for real. We talked about it in an episode not too long ago, but we horribly treat people that are bigger, and we devalue them and look at them as less than and uglier, and where they don't get promoted for jobs and they don't get that pay raises, all because of their size. Not all because, but that's one of the big components. We can't see them as being someone on top. You're like, oh, that's not true. It's look up the statistics on like presidencies.
Yeah.
And like and people in high jobs, comes to height, race, gender, fatness. Also, hair is a thing. We do correct categorize people as hair. It's a thing.
Colonization. Can I say something about that? What you're saying, because it's so important.
Go ahead.
In inner child healing, this is why I'm just so passionate. I'm so passionate about it. I left my pension job in healthcare to bet on myself because my inner child's like, you're dope. But inner child healing, like I was like, I don't want to go meet this little girl inside me because like I'm fat. She's like embarrassed. And the more I connected with my true self, my real, who I am, I forgot that I was fat because I would only like see all how amazing I am, how funny, how creative, how genius I am. And I was like, oh my gosh, people would see my weight and then project that onto me. But really, like, I'm dope. There's so many times now that I forget that I'm chubby, gordita, I've been. And I really am thankful to inner child work because I can see myself for me and not what other people like project to me.
Preach. Well said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's pivot into the next scene with the sisters.
Yes. They kind of blend in together a little bit.
Yeah, they do.
Where Cucu as a sister, and she's thinner, pretty, and automatically just like gets like a boyfriend like from the start of school. That school didn't even start yet.
Yeah.
Already has a boyfriend. Like, damn. All right.
White man always taking our fine brown women. They always taking us.
They always get them. They always get them. Yeah. Yeah. And they don't appreciate them. Here we go. And then she ditches her sister to be with this boy. And then come to find out she's making out with him in the hallway. Like, damn, like fifth period hasn't even started. Like, what the, it's not even lunch yet. Shit. Like, come on now. And then obviously she's talking about, hey, like, what the hell's happening here? Like, you're not supposed to even kiss before marriage. Like, what's happening here? And then obviously, and then she goes like, hey, what does tongue taste like? What?
I love that.
Tastes like bubble gum.
Hook a sister up. Tell me.
Yeah.
Does it taste like white supremacy?
Does it taste like privilege?
Does it taste like money?
Does it taste like ruling the world?
It
sure does. It sure
tastes like
does.
Freedom.
It tastes like freedom. God bless that man's tongue.
I guess with this, Spence, did you have a question based on this? Because
family dynamics. I mean, how was your kind of family dynamics with that? Was it kind of similar where, like, since you were the middle child,
yeah,
you were kind of like a protector, but then also you were somebody that was also learning also like from your older
Ooh,
siblings. So like how was
yeah.
that dynamic?
Well, my sister was skinny with a six pack, like you, Spence,
Right.
and she has.
Not
I mean,
anymore.
we both. Hey, welcome to the club.
Yeah, there you go.
So we both have. I guess I'm gonna stop saying light skin because people have told me just say white skin, Cynthia. Stop with that bullshit. So I have white skin apparently, but that's a whole nother topic. But we both have white skin and light eyes, clear eyes, but we're from Mexico. But she's thin, had a six pack, was in sports, and I was the very overweight sister. And I think she was embarrassed of me, just like the daughter was. And it shows like she had to protect her social capital. Emilia, the sister in Gordita Chronicles, like she is also new to this place, and her lived experiences. I'm a teenager. Cucu's like in elementary, but Amelia's in middle school. She needs to like have that social capital, and Cucu's kind of embarrassing. Not only does she have darker skin and she's chubby, right? I'm not saying that's bad, but for her, she's like, I'm the hot sister. I'm gonna get in this way. Cucu, she's gonna get in with her personality, with her brains, with her creativity. But Amelia, I feel like it shapes her as this is her role. And she, as we find out in the show, she starts to get along with the Latina version of the plastics, like the bossy group, and it's because that is survival for her. So I also see Amelia like having to play that role, but it really triggers me with my sister because it was like that too. It was like my sister, and then when we went to school, it was like, move, you fat girl. And it was like, oh, okay. But what did I get out of it? A really dynamic personality.
Oh my God.
You're like, my sister basic. So
Wait a minute. Are you and your sister good now or no?
Yeah.
No, we're totally good now.
Oh,
and
good.
she never really made fun of me, but like
Right.
when Amelia says to the sister, booby do, she says, your belly sticks out further than your boobies do. My sister, if she made a few comments about my body or something, I remember everything, because you look at your sister as like, they're the teacher of things. And so they make a comment about your body and it's stuck with me, So yes, I think that's an important scene. Oh, also the part of the Marianismo that I bring up, as women were like taught how to rally each other, how to teach each other how to be the social norms. And she says, I'm going to tell mom, because she knows that that's a way to like block you. Like my jealousy is going to block you. And then she's like, well, how's that tongue taste? Like what that mouth do, right? She's like, how's it taste? Tell me, because I want to know. So I love that little joke because that's so much of us. Like we gonna tell on you, but we also want the tea.
Yeah, of course.
This is when Cynthia looks at her sister. Little does your sister know you deeply hate her. Pause.
Deeply.
And like after she's on her fourth divorce and you set her up with a fucking, I'm going to stop before I hurt some population, but
Oh my God.
And you set her up with a really bad person just to shit on her, You catfish your own sister. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh my God. He has a whole plot for it.
I'm not the best therapist.
You
I'm like,
already like meticulously have a plan.
yeah. I'm like, we're going to destroy your life and then make sure he gets the kids. So,
Oh my God. That's nuts.
there's a special place in my heart for people that bully each other, especially their own family. So,
Yeah.
but that I'm just joking. The reason why I say this is because we often allow women to not have any anger or rage, and we ask them to shove it down. I'm like, let's talk about it, because you're talking to one of the fucking most angry, sadistic motherfuckers there are. The way my mind works, and so let's get you used to some of this stuff, and then let's tamper it down. Well, let's expose you to this. Now you can defend yourself when you're at your boss's office, when your coworkers are asking too much, when someone shits on you or your children at the restaurant, right? Let's allow you to express some of these angry feelings. I get it, masculinity and all that shit, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But usually my girls come to me as so soft and shrunken by the world that I have to pull it out. But Nas, that's a sin. Like, no, homie. I don't know what God you talking to. That ain't my God. So I bloviate and talk a lot of shit on here. But in there is some truth where we do need to express some anger or resentment, and then we hold people accountable, and then people can't fuck with us anymore. As Martin Luther King said, as soon as you straighten your back, no one can stand on you anymore. So I teach people to straighten their backs. All right. Magnificent. I'm glad we brought that up. God willing, Cynthia's sister does not listen to this podcast.
She doesn't listen to anything I send her. Don't worry.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I've piloted that with my own work.
There you go.
Thank you.
Well, the next partner she meets, just be worried. So.
Oh my God. All right, next scene. So Pledge of Allegiance, right? The scene.
This is a good one.
Yeah. Cucu, she's from a different country. She knows all the pledges, all the other stuff. But Pledge of Allegiance, this one, it's a big topic in schools, right?
Now.
I used to do it. Yeah, I used to do it. We had to do it every morning. Pledge of Allegiance, stand up, look at the flag, say the Pledge of Allegiance, right? But I was actually having this conversation with my girlfriend, and she was telling me how there was like this, exchange student coming into the school, and she never did the Pledge of Allegiance before. So what she would do and did for a long time was just mouth it, just like not even saying anything, just so that people would think she knows what's happening. And you don't want to, in school, you don't want to be the odd person out. You want to be the only person to be like, what the hell is happening here? Because then you looked at it as like, you don't know the Pledge of Allegiance? Like, what the
You terrorist?
This? Very bold word. Strong word. That's a very strong word there. So did you have any experience or being like your first generation that didn't really happen for you, or did that kind of happen for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. We didn't know it was happening because there wasn't language. There wasn't anybody validating this microaggression or this feeling that you felt or this new cultural way of doing things. I was born here in this country, but my sister was born in Mexico, as were my parents and everybody else in my lineage. So I was the first of my family born in California.
Right.
So it was a different experience. And I remember going to school with my cousins, and we would have different lunches, and they would make fun of us for our lunches, what we would bring. And it was like home cooked food. But it wasn't a sandwich with mayonnaise and like applesauce. And it was just like literally a home cooked meal that you'd open up from a thermos. And we would, to this day, my cousin will not like share her food with people she doesn't know. She's like, no, because you're going to comment, like we are that shook by it because it was so embarrassing to try to be these kids. So the Pledge of Allegiance was just another thing that like I do at school, but at home, I'm like, what is that? So there were very many things like that. One of the things was like our food, costumbres, the Pledge of Allegiance, maybe like even field trips or like wanting your mom to attend these things. And they're like, why? Like, why am I doing that? So yeah. And I love the way in the Pledge of Allegiance, she feels this rush. Like I could see she's in panic mode a little bit, like, I thought I had it all together and I didn't. And I think that that's really big in Latinos is that we want to protect ourselves by like getting it right, by being of service, by doing the right thing and being good at it. And so it creates this like perfectionism in us. And so I see that in Cucu. Yeah.
Reminds me of the scene, Spence, that she just described, not necessarily Cucu's, but in that Million Miles Apart. Right. And he's like, well, I don't want to take those fucking burritos to school because they're going to think we're that Mexican family eating burritos. And I'm pretty sure it was that movie that it was in that we watched together. Or they didn't want to get bullied.
There's been a few things where they have that. I remember Fresh Off the Boat. They also did something similar to that where it was like he brought, Asian food to school and they would make fun of him. He was like, Mom, I don't want this food because people think it's terrible. And then it is that, of course, like years later, now it's like these are like the most wanted foods like in the world. So it's just kids are terrible.
It's a mind fuck. It's a mind fuck as a little kid. You're just you just don't know. Yeah. And there weren't shows like this to watch.
No.
So I watched shows like Martin or shows that had family that I was like, I could relate a little bit more to dynamic shows, Living Single. There wasn't like shows that looked like my family.
Single.
Yeah.
Great song. Great show.
There you go.
Hey,
great show.
Before Friends. So
that's a whole nother,
I just find it interesting, like this food thing of like, oh wow, you don't have Lunchables, you ain't shit. But like, and that's how it goes for everything. Like, right, you're not wearing the right clothes, you're not eating the right food, you're not talking this certain way that you're supposed to be talking, and
So now,
then
I was going to say everything you just said was magnificent, Spencer. Now add being autistic to that. I just followed a content creator that's a Boricua, right, a Puerto Rican woman, and I didn't know these statistics, but Latinx folks, right? They are the lowest diagnosed when it comes to autism. Didn't know that. So, right, white folks, and then it was some crazy fucking number where it's like fucking 50% less is black folks diagnosed per rate. And then it was like 68% less, 62% less is Latino. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to ask them to come on the pod and talk about that. And I know it's even hard for me to diagnose folks or to, okay, because everything's so centered around whiteness and most of my clients are white. So for me to suss it out with black and brown bodies, I said it's hard. It's harder. I'm getting really, really good at it now, but it is harder. And I was like, holy shit. So imagine trying to fit in being autistic and brown. It's almost impossible. Being autistic in general, at times, depending on how good your masking is. Some people are fantastic at masking because they're able to read everything and analyze, and they're doing the algorithm like I do all the time. Then other folks that just can't. So I think about them, and man, that's a lonely fucking life for a lot of black and brown bodies that are out there that are also the intersections of being chubby and immigrants and different languages and all the nerd shit and trying to keep up with everything. It's just a lot. And my heart goes out to a lot of folks who listen to this podcast that most likely continuously get shit on daily. And they don't even fucking know why. Is it because I'm brown or is it because I'm fat today? You don't know why.
Oh, what is it going to be? Yes.
Yeah, what's it going to be? So I just wanted to take what Spencer said and then throw the tism on it. And then it just Jesus Christ. I mean, you wonder why we're so fucking depressed and have anxiety and OCD and all these other fucking things going on and rage going on at times. We're drowning. We're drowning. Sorry to make a sad moment.
No, you know what I noticed too with neurodivergence, whatever you want to call autism or ADHD, what you feel, what I always felt in my body, and I just never felt validated until now we're talking about it, and now we're trying to be more expansive, which is great. But when I feel bad, it physically hurts. Like it's pain. And that is one thing that I learned. Oh, that's part of my neurodivergence. Like it's not just like get over it. It's like, I need a moment because my whole nervous system is shook and it's like, I can't just snap out of it. And so I think that we've just like swept so many people, like, well, just get over it, keep moving. And then we do, because our culture is a colonized culture. So we do it. And there's going to come a day where we just like, we burn out, because I feel things so deeply. And it physically hurts when I'm hurt.
Well said.
Emotionally.
Many autistic folks will identify with that, and other neurodivergent folks will identify with that. That the meltdown of dysregulation, deregulation is major compared to mine and yours. It will be even more severe. But still, mine and yours and Spencer's is still valid. Right when we pop off when it comes to anger or hostility, whatever. The other day I told Spencer, one of my good friends got a job, and me and Spencer's been trying to get these prominent, awesome jobs, and we keep getting shit on and shit on and shit on. And one of my friends got one, and I said, hey man, I'm about to cry. He said, you can cry, go ahead. I just shut the fuck up. I don't want to cry right now. I'm happy. He said, it's okay if you cry. I said, stop saying the word cry. Jesus. And then so I'm sitting in there and I'm choking it back and I'm cool with crying. I cry all the time. But I didn't want to distract and then him care for me. And then I was able to refocus, but it took me about 30 seconds and then we got back to him. And sometimes, it was a good deregulation that I had. That my boy that I did a recommendation for, right? And he got this awesome job. Oh, he texted me yesterday, Spencer. He said his partner's terrified because it's expensive living out in Northwestern and Evanston, Illinois. It's like bougie and all that. So she's scared about money. And I was like, dude, you got to do it.
Yeah.
I said, take this job for a couple of years, rent you a house. And then when I get the clinic up and running in Michigan, because they want to go to Michigan, I said, you come, I'll put you in charge of the fucking everything, the clinic, the clinical services and training, and then I'll do all the other shit and fundraising, all the shit you don't want to do. And he's like, hey man, I can see it happening.
Yeah.
I told Dad, I said, I'm gonna send that motherfucker a preliminary contract right now.
Oh my God. Get him down while you still can.
Remember this moment.
I'm locking this white man down.
Yeah, that's right.
He
Right.
wanted the good ones.
We're reversing the roles now.
I know. Jesus Christ. So many white people in my company. I haven't even started yet.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Let's move on to scene 5, technically, because we're going to skip one.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where she gives up Spanish.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I love this one.
There you go. So what could you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah. So this is Cucu Castelli is with her 2 friends. Her friends are so fun. One is a white girl, and she's just like cheers for Cucu. But you know, her experience is her experience of just being American. So she's there to like help her with that. And then there's Yoshi, her friend, who is also assimilating. So he's like, I'm gonna help you assimilate. But this scene is Cucu, you're getting in trouble. She was getting in trouble. This is like 1985. The story takes place, by the way, we should say that, in 1985, Miami, Florida. And so she keeps speaking Spanish, and her friends are like, you speak Spanish when you are happy, mad, sad, because it's her go-to. So she says how in her brain, it's like half Spanish, half English. Her brain is always going. And I think that that's a really important piece, that we are constantly thinking and trying to navigate safety. We are trying to navigate, how am I going to put like my best foot forward while also maintaining my safety and my social capital, but also being myself. And herself is Spanish, but that at this scene, she commits to letting her Spanish go, with help of her friends. And it's cute, but it's also like nuanced sadness, I think, and grief.
Yep. I got a lot of international students I work with now that's a thing where they have to do their best to assimilate because they're in school and they have to talk to their advisors and lab mates and all that. And so they have to let go of that tongue, so that way they get along and they play well, and, you know, people can understand them. And then there'll be arguments that are had or disagreements. And they're like, is it because my English is poor? And I was like, no, I don't think it's your English. And so it's an interesting dynamic when you start to see parts of you die, period. Parts of you are dying. And you have to make that choice, that sacrifice to get where you want to go. The question is do you leave it completely, or do you come back to it when you go home? Can you code switch? How do you deal with the betrayal of yourself and your people, your population, right? I mean, it's very complicated when I'm working with my folks of color. And it can be very tough, very anger, resentment. You could bring it home with your kids, Spence, and be angry at them, and maybe you'll stop speaking around them, and then they lose the tongue, and then people fucking hate people that don't speak their native tongue anymore. So like now I get bullied for not speaking Spanish. I forgot there's a term for us. I forgot what it is.
No sabo kids.
Yeah, there it is. So.
Girl, thanks for that one, Cynthia.
Yeah. Triggered.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. You know, can I'm triggered too. I remember being Cucu's age. I was in second grade. So I was a little bit younger than her. And it was the whole lunch thing, making fun of me and it was the 4 of us, my sister and my 2 cousins. And so the 4 of us together, we were like the new generation. And I remember that was the age where I was like, I'm not going to speak Spanish. I'm going to drop it.
See?
It's embarrassing. I don't want my parents talking to me, but I thought it was like a flex. Fast forward to now middle school. It's like, we're all wearing chola lipstick. We have hoop earrings. I'm in LA. Okay. And now I got to catch up on my like Spanish. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't know I was going to need that. Right. And I'm here like trying to just catch the pulse when really it's always been within me. Fast forward. I told you I have 3 sons. My 2 little ones that were born, they're entering elementary, and we happened to move into a home that has a dual immersion school, 90-10,
Nice.
90% Spanish, 10% English. Well, this school started off as a dual immersion school 20 years ago to help non-English speaking kids. Since then, it's been overrun by white people because it was in a white neighborhood, and they started to make it a school that they wanted to have control over. So now a lot of people move here and the houses have skyrocketed to attend that school so that a lot of white children can learn Spanish because it's an asset. So we bought a house here. It wasn't because of that school, but I was like, well, this is the time. And my inner child's like, this is the time where my kids are going to learn Spanish. I lost it. Can I tell you, first year, my little one's in kindergarten. He has ADHD. I can tell. Okay, I'm diagnosing it. I'm a therapist. I'm gonna do it. I don't care what anybody says. My other son is I'm saying undiagnosed autism. We're still working on that, but I saw it in this. But basically, I wanted them to learn Spanish, but guess what? It was too much. Not only are they now learning Spanish, 90%, they were wearing masks. Everybody was wearing masks. So imagine learning a new language with a mask on and the teacher has a mask. But not only that, this was a moment where I realized I had to choose my kids or school. So basically they were complaining about things that are neurodivergent complaints. So one of the things is your son, he plays with his jacket a lot and it's distracting. I'm like, that's his safety blanket. We don't want him to do that. Your son cries a lot and he'll go under the desk and just cry. And we have to like restart him every 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Literally, she would complain to my husband about his crying. And my husband's like, what do you want me to do? Like, you're telling me my son is crying. Like, what is there to do? You need to be compassionate. And so my little one, Malcolm, he's an artist and he was 5 and she would circle what he did wrong on homework at 5 and say he needs to return it. He colored the bear purple and the bear's supposed to be brown because bears are brown. I was like, well, his bear's purple. And I went to their open house and my son Malcolm, again, he says, I'm Malcolm, I'm 5, I'm an artist. Okay. And I see that, and I noticed it. I didn't need her to tell me, but like they had to draw a bear. And the whole point was that like, you know, the words that I'm saying in Spanish and I'm dictating it and you're drawing it. Everyone drew a bear, but Malcolm drew a Picasso bear. The bear was disassembled. There were parts of it. There were different pieces and it looked different than everybody. Do you know how dope that picture was? Well, basically she said, it's wrong. She said in this meeting, your son, first of all, he was the youngest kid in the class and he's a boy. Okay. He's 5 and the youngest 5. But she said he spends 45 minutes coloring and not writing the sentence. And you look at the sentence and the sentence is the picture. I said, he did the sentence in a picture. That is how he got it. What? And she goes, the therapist said, okay, you know what we'll do? We'll take away his ability to draw. Then
Jesus
he has to write the sentence. And not only will he not have the ability to draw, he can only do it as a reward. And I said, you're not going to do that. It was that day that me and my husband, which is funny because he's like a DJ, he's a hip hop DJ, tattooed sleeves, brown beard, but don't fuck with his kids. Okay, that is his tender little spot. And he said, I will not let them kill their spirit. And we took him out and now we homeschool. And it's been a year of homeschooling. Love it. But it was a moment where I wish, not that I wish I would have been homeschooled because that would have been horrible, but I wish that I would have been seen like that because these moments killed my spirit. Right. So yes, that whole like redo over as myself, putting my kids in Spanish, it wasn't worth it. And I learned from that is I can teach them at home and we can learn Spanish through experiences, through going to Mexico to see my family, through my grandparents. So you know what? F the school way of doing it because they were in turn the same colonizing force as English. It didn't matter. It was still school.
Thank you for all that.
Yeah.
The vulnerability, that story, because a lot of people are going to identify with that. That was pretty heartbreaking. Not gonna lie. Reminds me a lot of myself. So that was intense. But I'm glad your kids got you and your partner. This big terrifying guy with tattoos and a beard. Yeah.
Big terrifying guy with tattoos.
Hey,
you don't know how tall he is.
He doesn't even have to say anything. People are like, "You're not smiling," and he's like, "I'm driving." Anyway.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I had a bunch of other cool shit I was going to say, but I was listening to the story, so that was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, it's a son of a bitch.
By the way, I want to give you a picture of this real quick.
Go ahead.
I broke my foot and I was like typical Latina, like I can't take my kids to school. I broke my foot. It was like 6 weeks non-weight bearing. And my husband and we live like a block. We live literally a 5-minute walk. Okay. So he started taking the kids to school on his bike. We have 2 kids. They're Mexican twins. Okay. 16 months apart. And he puts he gets pegs on the back and pegs on the front. And now it's my husband, 1 kid on the back and 1 kid on the front. They're 5 and 6. They loved it.
They're
They
so
would ride to school for
Mexican.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
And in the meeting, guess what they had to just say at the end? And by the way, your husband needs to put helmets on the kids. Tell him not to ride their bikes here. I was like, oh, now you're going to take the fun, the like 5 minute, like they were so close with their dad. And I was like, that is such a little, like a dig. I just felt
Bro.
like, you know what? Shut up.
Bro, if Pops was, because Pops was incarcerated at that time, but if he was at the school at that time,
Oh, my
they
God.
would have been, I would have got suspended because of him.
Like, yeah, we gotta get rid of both of them. I don't know how.
We gonna have to
gotta-
call someone for your ass. Homeland Security says.
Homeland Security.
Bro.
Oh my God.
I remember moms, I used to get in some shit, bro. Moms would come up there with just Mexican ferocity. And she's like, they picking away on my kid, and my kid's fighting back. And it just happens, my kid just doesn't quit. Because I could take a hell of an ass whooping, because mom was giving him out. So, but I could take a hell of an ass whooping. I would not quit. Like, you would have to beat me to death in these fights on campus. I'm like, nah, bro, I ain't quitting. So I would always get caught because I was the last one throwing the punch. And mom would come up there, boy, and I hear her screaming. I'm like, hell yeah. And she'd come home and beat my ass. Stop getting in trouble, boy. I'm going to defend myself. Fuck these kids. And I would get picked on for everything that you just said about your kids. Mine works in a different way. Oop, this is what I'm going to say. We're going to move on to the next one. This happened recently. A couple of years ago, we were at an outing for the counseling center at Purdue University, and one of my colleagues, a black individual, did this magnificent thing where we had to like cut these pieces of paper and identify, the paper and the cuts. It was supposed to look like some type of snowflake or something like that, whatever. And he just listened to the directions. Everyone's looked the same but mine. Everyone's. And I look at everyone else's and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. And I ain't gonna lie, I sat there and I started crying. This is fucking bullshit. Again, in this place where I know there's some other neurodivergent people, but I'm the weirdest and most awkward one. My brain doesn't work like anyone else's. And they're like, nah, you're so different. I wonder fucking why. And that shouldn't have been so devastating to me. The fact that I made this little art thing with scissors and then it was just so weird compared to and we're listening to the same directions. I don't know. It's just a weird experience that I had. I don't think I've told anyone about that. I was fucked up from that.
Thank you.
I was fucked up. And people be like, oh man, you're being soft. I'm like, no, man, it's a reminder that I felt like I didn't belong. So this is why I love doing the podcast, because now we always belong. And everyone that listens to us belongs. I don't give a fuck who you are and how you can talk or you can't talk good or can't read, you can't read good. I don't give a shit. I love you and I want you to take care of yourself.
You said. You said it shouldn't be that devastating, that sentence to me. It shouldn't feel this devastating, but it does. And it does.
It does.
That's a beautiful sentence.
It's a son bitch. I remember that. I remember sitting there. So, all right. That was a good scene. We got 2 left. We're getting close to running out of time, but we got time to get these done. We got, what does it say? This is the dad scene? Oh, this is the best scene. One of the best scenes.
You love this one. You talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. So, right, this is a scene that we see over and over in a lot of different racial movies or ethnic, BIPOC movies, is that you'll get these figures that go get these jobs and they're like, hey man, janitor keys in the back, or the housekeeper stuff is in the back, or the groundskeeper shit is in the garage. And you like, huh? I'm the motherfucking vice president of Latino operations. We seen it in like 3 or 4 movies recently with, right, Chicano actors. And we see a lot with black folk. I mean, I went through it at my old university. So Spence, I was at St. Mary's. Might have told you this a long time ago though. And it was Sager, my dog. So this is a weightlifting coach. This is my fucking guy right now. I love this guy. Yeah. But I'm working out during the summer, right? I'm staff. I work here as the therapist for the kids. And he see me working out. He's like, hey man, who are you? I'm like, who the fuck are you? He's like, man, you a student here? I said, no, I ain't no student. I work here. He's like, can I see some ID? I'm like, the fuck you? Let me see. I don't know. Let me see your ID, white man. He's like, I don't think you belong here, man. This is closed. I'm like, I will go get my fucking ID. And I didn't even actually have an ID at that time. I was like, bro, what the fuck is going on? Not an extremely racist dude, but since I didn't fit the prototype of what goes there, you know, white folk.
Yeah.
All white folk. This is a very white school.
Yeah, it is.
Very Catholic white school that Spencer went to and I worked at. And I was like, bro. So then it happens like 2 years later. I'm one of the most well-known names on this university now. Literally one of the biggest figures on this university. And the security guard goes, man, hey, man, I'm going to need to see some ID. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Students are waving at me coming by. What do you mean I don't belong in this gym?
Yeah.
Bro, it was, you get reminded that you don't belong here. You get reminded you don't belong here. And then when I tell people I'm a therapist in public, and I just like to say students, like I'm working with students. I'm like, oh, yeah. And they'll think like I'm a K through 12 or like a coach. Everyone thinks I'm a coach. Oh, you teach football. You teach them big boy how you teach them black kids, don't you now? You teach the black kids how to hit another black kid.
Imagine I'm the quarterback. All right. Protect me.
Yeah.
I'm your quarterback.
And
all right.
I would love to be a coach, and I always wanted to be a coach, and that's an endearing, loving thing that they're saying. But they think because I'm big and brown and masculine that's the only thing that I could be. I could never be a therapist. I could never talk about emotions and love and sadness and suicidality. I could never work with women or gay folk because I'm a big, terrifying boy. I'm your worst nightmare, right? You clutch your purse when you see me. So this is when I see that movie, it's triggering because I have to feminize myself all the time at work, and I have to code switch all the time throughout life to make other people comfortable. Just like women have to do too, to be put on a certain persona, just like our fucking president or vice president has to do because she's a black woman. She will have to put on her persona, and she will have to act more white than ever. This is just what we have to do as populations. And so this shit gets me mad. He's like, you son of a bitch, I'm Victor. He's like, no, you're Eduardo, motherfucker. I'm getting your bonus.
I'm taking it.
I love it.
So I'm gonna let you take over, Cynthia, because I'm done ranting. This scene, why did you pick this scene? Because did you think it was funny? Because it is satirical and it's funny as shit. And there is some like weird stuff going on with the janitor. And he's like, yeah, man, play along to get along. Fuck you, man. I'm Victor now. He's like, I used to be a doctor, you son of a bitch. I'm picking up fucking puke.
Yeah, I think that is the big heart of it with so many clients I've worked with is the loss of identity. Like you think America's going to be so much better. You might be a doctor in your home country, and then you come here, you have to work as a janitor or you're a housekeeper, and people just want to look at you as that. And it doesn't even matter if back home you weren't a doctor, but either way, it's the identity that they give you. They don't care to learn more about you. You're beneath, it's lower, but also we notice kind of what we have to do. And I think of it like we have to be everyone's like, we got to say it real nicely. Like Victor Castelli is really good at like, he's a marketer. So he's being really sweet, but fuck, it has to piss him off. But he doesn't even show it. He's trying to be, he even goes to his white boss and he's like, hey, and the white boss still doesn't get it. It's like all about him. It floats over his head. So all three characters, I feel like I've heard this story so many times of people leaving behind an identity and having to be a new identity. And I just think of the sacred grief and sacred rage of that. Yeah. And as children of those people, maybe they come home and they take it out on us. Maybe they push us to be overachievers, to be perfect, you know? So I think this happens way more often than we think. And that's why it's in the shows, because it's something that triggers us. So we want to highlight it.
Yeah, they push us to be better, to be educated, to be more, right? So we don't fall into that category. So that way, when you walk in the door, they respect you. I remember working with a client that's like a fucking CEO of one of these major hospitals. And she's like, I walked into this regional, right, national meetings, and I'm the only fucking black person there. She's like, I felt like this little brown girl. I'm like, honey, you ain't no little brown girl. You fucking terrifying. I ain't gonna lie. You dominate almost everything, and you're one of the smartest fucking people I know. You know the ins and outs of everything. That's how you got here. So this is something fake. Those people probably don't even know what the fuck they're talking about because you're rewriting everything because they fucked it all up. But remember that. And you can be that little brown girl, right? And she does walk with you, but don't let no one make you feel less than, like you're stupid. You know more than them. And I'm not saying it was a racial thing. You know more than them. Statistically, I knew she knew more than them based on why they hired her.
Yeah. Right.
But we will feel less than at moments, and we will shrink because of it. Some people will take it, like in that, I think it was the Million Miles Apart, where homeboy, he just kept the janitor keys for like months and then broke into the office to figure out what was wrong with the rockets. And they're like, how did you get in here? He's like, y'all motherfuckers gave me the janitor keys.
Yeah. I'm just doing what you gave me to do.
Yeah.
That's
He's
it.
like, well, you broke in here. I was like, no, y'all gave me the keys. I just ain't the janitor. And then he finally tells the little white secretary, like, I'm not, Eduardo, like, that's Eduardo behind you. Like, I'm the fucking, I'm one of the engineers. She's like, she's like, you're an engineer?
Yeah.
Good old Michael Pena.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, he's magnificent. Real quick, Spencer, I don't know if you've ever seen this. In the podcast that we did on the Flamin' Hot movie, right? Everyone keeps saying that actor should play Eddie Guerrero in a biopic of Eddie Guerrero. And I was like, holy shit, you're so right.
He'd have to get buff as shit though, because Eddie was like,
he actually is pretty jacked, but he'd have to be like, he'd have to be like
shredded, like, because Eddie was like on a whole new level.
Yeah.
Like,
Eddie had some nice fluffy bosoms.
Sure.
I'm gonna put these down.
Sure. Yeah. Calm it down, buddy. Calm it down.
Can we, but with that clip we were talking about, y'all, the one thing I also see, and we kind of mentioned it off air, is like basic and genius. Like, I feel like I have to give everything, show you how genius I am, and some other people get to be just basic. Like his boss was basic and needed him, but he's the boss. The white guy's the boss. And I just feel like this shows too, like, as people of color, we got to go so hard. We got to work so hard just to even get, in the room, but other people get to be basic. We talked about different podcasts where like they get sponsored and they talk about shit that doesn't help people. And here we are trying to like change the world and
being vulnerable, sharing stories, loving people, empathy, trauma informed. Right, advocating, and then you got other people talking about like the dumbest. I didn't get a nice handbag, so I dumped a man. And you get things like this. You get men that preach on stupid shit like this too, and it's like me and Spence be like, "How, bro? Like, how? Why do we keep making stupid people famous?" And it's because no one really wants to listen to get educated. We just want to be distracted because the world's terrifying, and we're all fucking traumatized, and you don't even know it. And so we look towards comedy and stupidity because it's easy to desensitize yourself. Why would you want to go listen to something like this? Because with this, you're going to laugh with me and Spencer. It's probably the only time you're really going to laugh in the mental health podcast. But you're going to have to start doing the work listening to us. And you're going to have to touch some feelings, and that shit's going to suck.
Yeah.
So these type of things don't get promoted because it's too much like work. People would rather self-medicate with stupidity. Which is fine. I do it too.
Right.
But
there's time for it.
I just don't think that shit's gonna last though, honestly. It's one of those things that's like, I mean, we take a look at what's viral and stuff like that. It goes away after a while.
It does.
And you lose what you like, you lose stuff to talk about. You really do. When it comes to this stuff, you don't ever lose it because it's never gonna really go away. It's just not.
Nope.
Like, we can try to act like it is, but it's not. Like, you could get it to a less degree, like we've talked about before, but it's more about like managing what you can. And when it comes to being viral, you're always trying to figure out what's viral and how do you top what you did, because you're never going to stay relevant unless you top what you did before. So at the end of the day, that's not going to last.
Even worse, Spence, it's not going to last. And all you're doing is just sucking this fucking thing and trying to be like everyone else. And all it does is create the self-hatred and wanting to be this, and that. And then you never get to be yourself. And then you lose your identity. So now you just become just another cog. And you wonder why you're depressed as fuck. And you don't feel anything. And you can't have any good relationships because that's all you're trying to do is seeking acknowledgement from others when you don't get to have great conversations or help the people like Cynthia's been helping or do what we do. because you're true to yourself. Cynthia said, I bet on myself. Fuck you. I'm going to go do things that make me and my people feel good. F you. I'm going to get rid of this job. I'm going to take my kids out of here because I'm betting on myself. I can teach them better than you, and you guys are fucking over my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do, right? As these content creators, they're also therapists and BIPOC and queer. Not saying that everyone here is, but a lot of the folks that we do have in neurodivergent is we're staying true to ourselves, and we're having a fucking blast doing it. Yeah. Where everyone else is miserable. Yes. And I know they are because I'm a therapist. I've been doing this long enough.
That part.
I know you say it, honey.
I know you cry.
For $125 an hour, you can be sad with me. Wait a minute. That sounds kind of...
Wait a minute. Is this a problem?
This isn't, that's not a sexual comment.
Yeah. He's not a whore, folks. He's not a whore. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Like
you can be a whore if you want to be.
Preach, sister. So we had one last scene, but we do need to wrap it up. Sadly. Because I know the next.
It's a good scene to wrap it up with.
Yep. So I'm gonna quickly go over it. So Cynthia, we went because I just want to get to it real quick. We talked about she's in her car. And it looks like she's feeling like a lot of homesickness, right? Leaving in the States, maybe some rage is coming up on the road, and she's going back and forth to work. And so I'm going to just let you talk on this and why you really enjoyed this. And then we're going to have Spencer wrap it up for us.
Okay. Yeah. So Mrs. Castelli, she was trying to get her driver's license passed, and she was too angry, and she was doing all these like maneuvers. And she said, her husband was like, "What's up?" And she's like, "I guess I miss the DR. I miss the roads. I miss familiarity, knowing it." And so she ends up getting her license. And so to celebrate her, he decorates the car that they already have, and he makes it feel like home. He puts an air freshener. I get goosebumps just talking about it. He puts an air freshener in the window. He has the shells. He puts the horn to make this beautiful music that it reminds her of the DR. But what I see is partnership of him validating her experience that, yeah, I miss home too. What could we do to make it feel more like home, where the world is saying like, fuck you, assimilate and just be, you should get over that. It wasn't even a good culture. Come on, have our culture. He's like, no, let's value it. And when you're here, this is it. And she says, oh, I already feel like I'm there. For me, that is what I just want for so many of us, this softness, this safety in our own home. So yeah, it's a beautiful scene. And soft masculinity. His masculinity is just safe and it's loving.
Yep. I agree with everything that you said. It was very grounding and rooted in her family, her heritage, right? Things that she loved and she felt safe. So when we're grounding people, we're making them find things that make them feel comfortable, loved, safe. And he did that. And that's an easy way for people to love each other without being super sexualized or physical touch or quality time. There's ways to do this that makes the other person like, oh, you paid attention to all that shit? Or, oh, you remembered that I like this type of cheesecake, or right, that color of teddy bear, you know. You like it like I like my bacon extra crispy.
What?
Yeah.
But these small things mean something.
It's always food.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hungry as shit, man. So
hey, you remember how I like my macaroni and cheese? All right.
I like it with hot sauce, motherfucker. That's all I like.
Oh my God.
Cholula. Okay, to get us out of here, Spence.
All right. Any plugs, Cynthia? Before we leave, any plugs?
Yes, thank you so much. I am really excited that I just posted my pre-recorded courses. People were like, I can't join the group sometimes. I live in a different time zone. Can I just do it on my own? So I have pre-recorded courses for inner child healing, for healing our mother wounds through the lens of really colonized African and Latino diaspora. So that's called My Marianismo, Unburdening Myself. These courses all have history, social science, and somatic support. But I also have Confetti All Around. It's a podcast. It's a free resource. If you want to, send an episode to a client that has been wanting to tap into ancestral healing, we have ancestral healing and epigenetic care. And also I am available for speaking engagements and trainings for clinical staff. So I hope to be, I've been here creating so much stuff, and now it's time for just people to see me. So I'm here, and I would love to be found at rootedinreflection.org, rootedinreflection.org. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great having you. Definitely would love to have you back again for another show. Also go check out her Instagram account, rooted_in_reflection. Go check it out. So thank you once again for coming on. I'm Spencer. That's Naz. Different Spectrum Podcast.
All right,
Thank
everyone.
you so much.
I know this was a tough one at times. I'm glad you stick with us. I know it was funny at times. Much love and appreciation. And remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
And that's completely up to you. Peace.